think it starts, Coach, with the 3 SAC champions, and we'll start with the Snider Panthers. I mean, coming in again, another team that has got a lot coming back this year, experienced group of seniors, and really always in the hunt year in, year out at Snider.
Well, the first thing I think about when you talk about Snider football is history and tradition. From Russ Isaacs to Mike Hawley, now to Kurt Tippmann in his 14th year there at Snider. A lot of cohesiveness in their staff and what they do. He's 126-34 and came off a little bit, I would call a redemption year, because if you think about 2 years ago, they had a very young defense. Now, early on, they were not very good against the pass, and that's how they were getting victimized pretty well. But as the season went on, those sophomores got a little bit more experience that led into last year, and I think they had a better result. But they had some times where they were battling to stay at the on the W side of the column. That first week against Northside last year, I think Northside gave them all they could handle and had a late kickoff, late field goal to beat them. But, I think when you look at their team depth wise, number one, I think it starts with Luke Hoppert. I've liked Luke. I've liked his mannerisms, the way he handles himself. And I think he's a good leader. I think that he's one of those guys that will ultimately be their guy that's going to be their coach on the field, so to speak. I really do think that I'm pulling up some video here of Luke, and we'll be able to see some of these highlights of his team last year. And you can see that he's got a chance to be one of those quarterbacks. Now, I'd say one thing on him is, arm strength wise is probably not where it needed to be last year. Sometimes he has to cheat a little bit on the throw, especially the deep ball. But I think he's done a lot this offseason to prepare. I know Coach Tippmann is very pleased with his how he handles himself. And I think that's the biggest part. And I think after last year, I think he went into this year, knowing that he had to be the guy that did better. He completed 65% of his passes. That's not bad at all. He had 8 TDs and 5 interceptions. And I think one thing that they do in their spread offense is he can run the football and make plays, as we see here, hitting a wide open guy in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah. And I mean, I think for you talk about the tradition of Snider too. I mean, the aspect for Luke Hoppert coming in is Kurt Tippmann said it. Luke Hoppert has started more games than any other incoming senior quarterback in Snider's program history. So he's taken a lot of reps. He's led this team. They won an SAC share a year ago. They get pretty far in that sectional. They lose to Dwenger, so they got that chip on the shoulder. They beat Dwenger in the regular season, lose to Dwenger in the sectionals. But that team got hot too after they took their lumps in the beginning of the year, where they were 1-1, and then they went on a 7-game winning streak. And I think that's the momentum that a lot of teams ride very high and carried Snider. Of course, they lost Tyrese Brown, they lost Dominic Moon, they've lost DJ Moore, but those big senior classes for Snider always kind of refills the cupboard, and some new names tend to come out of that. And I think that's where Snider's tradition and really the ability to coach up kids really plays in their factor and helps out too.
Well, first and foremost, Snider is a team that is going to run the football. They know how to run the football. When they have their power game going, they're very difficult to beat. And I think Langston Lavelle's the kid that's going to come back this year and replace Brown. And I think we'll talk a lot about him. And I think one thing about this kid is he's big, he's strong. He's one of those guys that can really explode in the hole, do a lot that way. I mean, here's some clips of him where you get the end zone view where you can really see this kid and his feet. He's got great feet, and he can do a lot of things. I think being 6'3", 215 pounds, he's going to get those tough yards. I mean, he's just a back that's built for this offense. And I really do think that he's going to be a great replacement for Brown. And like you said, there's always someone else out there that's going to be rising up behind him. We'll see who that is. But you got the Juarez kid on the outside that just got an offer from Eastern Michigan. And I think that, they've got a team that I think you're going to see more of the traditional Snider that we're accustomed to.